Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm Dark Jack, and in this video I go 52-0 flawless in the map Raid in Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And what I'm going to talk about in this gameplay is why triple capping in Domination is bad. And I really shouldn't have to explain this, but whenever I play with random teammates in Domination, or with people I don't know very well, most of them have no idea how to play Domination correctly. And they don't understand why triple capping is bad. And so today when I was playing with a group of people that most of them are pretty good at Call of Duty, but they kept triple capping. They could not stop capping the enemy's flag, and it really hurt our team in the end. So I'm going to explain why that is in this video, and why people love to triple cap so much. Now Treyarch made it so that when you cap the enemy's flag, that's worth twice as much as a kill, so it's 200 points, whereas the kill is 100 points in Domination. And the reason why they did that is to prevent spawn trapping. Because in the first Black Ops game, what people did was they would play Domination and Ground War with a full party, and they would all run Blackbird. And then once one person had a Blackbird, everyone else would get a Blackbird eventually. Because they would keep the enemy team trapped in their spawn, and they would post it behind cover. And that's mostly what I do when I play Call of Duty Black Ops 2 with my friends. Except that we use the VSAT instead of the Blackbird. And Treyarch made it so that when you cap the enemy's flag, you get twice as many points as a kill, hoping that people would no longer spawn trap, but instead they would just rush the enemy team's side, and then the enemy team would spawn on the other side. So the game would be faster paced, and it would be more fair for the team that's losing. Now, since many players have a hard time getting their streaks, and they're not very good at Call of Duty, what they do is they make it their goal every game of Domination to cap the enemy flag. And so they just rush the enemy flag over and over again until they finally get it, and then the enemy team spawns on the other side. And so those people love the triple cap, but they can't get the B flag when they need it to win the game, because they're not good enough. And the only way they can get points is by triple capping. And so the obvious reason why you should not triple cap in Call of Duty Black Ops 2 or any Call of Duty game is that it ends the game quicker, so everyone gets fewer kills. But there's a more important reason than that. It's not just that the game lasts shorter, it's that when you triple cap, it completely messes up the spawn system, and so it becomes extremely difficult to predict where the enemy is coming from unless you have an orbital V set up. And the way the game is designed is so that when one team is triple capped and they don't have any flags, the game spawns them everywhere when they die. So that way they can then come back from that triple cap, because the enemy team that triple capped them is not going to have any idea where the enemy is coming from. They could be coming from behind them, from the left or the right, or in front of them. They keep doing that until they get a flag back, and then they go back to their original spawn system. So if you triple cap the enemy team, what's going to happen is that eventually they're just going to get a flag back, because they're going to be spawning at both A, C, and on the left and right sides of B. And eventually they're going to be spawning all over the place, and then they'll just get a flag back anyway, because they'll end up shooting you in the back. And so when you triple cap in Call of Duty Black Ops 2, it's being selfish, because even though you're getting points, it's going to get your teammates killed, because the enemy is going to spawn behind them and then shoot them in the back. So when you triple cap, you're basically asking for getting shot in the back and getting shot from the side by enemy players with Ghost, because triple capping only works if you have an orbital V set up at all times, and even then you shouldn't do it, because the spawns are so erratic and enemies will spawn right on top of you. And so when you triple cap in Call of Duty, what you're doing is you are conceding the advantage in situational awareness. And let me explain what that means. Because in Call of Duty, when you have the enemy team trapped at their flag, you have A and B or C and B, and the enemy team only has one flag, you always know where the enemy team is going to be spawning at. You always know that they're going to be spawning on their side of the flag in their general area, unless you run up and you push the spawns, or if score streaks flip the spawns, like when you call an airstrike on their side, that can also flip the spawns. I talked about that in an earlier video where I talked about the spawn system in Call of Duty. And so when you triple cap, the enemy team spawns behind you on the other side, so you have to run all the way back to the other side and then back again. So you end up running back and forth the entire time, rather than staying on just one side and getting lots of kills. And so because you have to run it back and forth, you end up getting fewer kills than you would if you had just kept the enemy team on one side of the map. So when the spawns are flipping constantly, you're just better off at sticking to one side rather than going back and forth. So you end up spending all your time running back and forth rather than keeping the enemy team trapped in their spawn and then killing them at their flag. And so in actuality, you're going to get more kills by not triple capping than you will by triple capping, because you're always going to know where the enemy team is at, and you're going to have them locked down in their spawn. And when you have the enemy team locked down in their spawn by holding 2 flags, the ghost perk is not a problem. The ghost perk is only a problem if you don't know where the enemy team is spawning at. But when you always know where the enemy team is going to be coming from, and you're posted up behind cover, people in the enemy team who are using ghost are not a problem, because you always know the general area where they're going to be coming from. So the way that you play Call of Duty Domination correctly is that you have a different person in your team watching each exit from their spawn. Each person watching a different route that leads out of the enemy team spawn. And you keep them locked down in their spawn, posted up behind cover, until someone in your team gets an orbital VSAT. And then once you get an orbital VSAT, then you can push up a little bit. But do not capture their flag unless they have captured your flag. So the only time it is good to triple cap in Domination is when your team is losing, or if your team does not have an orbital VSAT and someone on your team is one or two kills off and they're near their flag. But most of the time you can still get the orbital VSAT even if you don't triple cap, if you're playing with good players. And then once you get the orbital VSAT, after capping their flag, what you want to do is then back off their flag and let them capture it back. That way the enemy will not spawn behind you. So you can keep them locked in their spawn. So I hope you guys enjoyed this explanation video, and I'll catch you guys later.